Hello ladies, this is Dr. Mineza Khan. I hope you all doing great. On this International Women's Day, I would like to applaud the efforts of women across the globe who fought to gain a recognition and acceptance in all professional fields, and of course men who have been supporting the idea of women empowerment. Today I'm going to tell you how you can tackle harassment issues effectively and, more importantly, like an alpha female. In many parts of the world, women are very uncomfortable to discuss how difficult it is for them to tackle harassment issues. And there are many reasons why silence prevails in such matters. A. Women are perceived as emotionally, physically weak, easy to threaten and torture, and forced to keep quiet. B. In many cases, women are completely unaware what truly harassment means and if there are laws for it. C. Social stigma. In many countries, a victim becomes the vicious character if she chooses to report. D. Politicizing gender harassment for personal gains, which deprives real cases from getting justice because public perception of gender harassment laws changes and gets distorted then. So a big fat question is, should I keep quiet? My strong advice is no, never deal it like an alpha. To be able to handle it well, first take a look how folks around the world define gender harassment. Catherine M. McKinnon first raised awareness about harassment of a working woman and wrote a book on it that was released in the United States of America somewhere in 1979. Then a law was formulated and implemented in many countries of the world. In 1992, the General Assembly of the United Nations defined gender harassment in Article 17 of Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. And it says that discrimination against a woman, as defined in Article 1, thereof includes acts of physical, mental, or sexual harm or suffering, threats of such acts, coercion, other deprivations of liberty against a woman because she is a woman. European Union's Directive 2006/54/EC7 defines it as where any form of unwanted verbal, nonverbal, or physical conduct of a sexual nature occurs with the purpose or effect of violating the dignity of a person in particular when creating and intimidating, hostile, degrading, and humiliating or offensive. So what are the actions that comes under the law of gender harassment? Gender harassment includes a variety of behaviors ranging from physical and verbal to nonverbal forms. In a study, gender harassment is categorically divided into three types. 1. Gender-based inappropriate treatment, which includes hostility, objectification, exclusion, or second-class status about members of one gender. Unwanted or amorous acts. And the last one is sexual coercion. Physical harassment does not only include hitting, kicking, beating, pushing, etc., but also unwanted physical interaction, for example, groping, molestation. Non-verbal harassment includes messaging offensive and vulgar pictures, staring, stalking, and again, amorous gazing. Verbal harassment includes scorn, yelling, or using abusive language. Now that you know what gender harassment is, the next question that comes in your mind is how to tackle it, right? So here is your 3-step response. First, get training on self-defense. Report it if it happens to you. Your next step is legal action against the perpetrator to ensure everyone's protection against this crime. And lastly, team up with governmental or non-governmental organizations working in your community to create awareness and complete elimination of gender-based harassment from the society you're living in. To be able to defend yourself, first you need to identify the trigger, something that's bothering you. Recently, if you notice your performance going down or experience persistent annoyance at home or at workplace, please do address it. If you keep bottling up, you'll experience depression or burnout. Your physical and mental well-being can be threatened if trigger remains unnoticed or unattended. Educate yourself about the type of harassment you experience and the most appropriate response to it. Verbal and physical abuse are the highly offensive forms of gender harassment, and you need to respond quick. So your first step is target your trigger, take an action, and don't leave your perpetrator unpunished. What are the consequences of leaving gender harassment cases unattended? Poor quality of life, poor performance at work, troubled relationships, mental breakdown. It can cause burnout and manifestation of depression-related physical illness. This is the most dangerous one. In a document released by DG Internal Policy European Union titled Knowledge and Know-how, Role of Self-Defense in the Prevention of Violence Against Women, the author, Professor Liz Kelly, writes, I'm quoting her, women's self-defense training aims to arm women with skills to avoid, interrupt, and resist assault. So guys, it's better to use self-defense or martial to protect yourself from physical assault. During 70s, women self-defense was perceived as a radical intervention for protection against violence. In 20th century, women activists officially started WSD training and was began to perceive as a prevention intervention. So my recommendations: take care of your mental and physical well-being, because it helps you in being resilient when you are in a situation where you need a very quick response. And learn the basic tactics of self-defense, which is legit and allowed to practice in the part of the world that you're living in. Yes, it is generally recommended that you call 911. I will suggest the same, but if alley agents are not around, they take time, and there is a threat that requires quick response, it is legit to use your WSA training, also known as women's self-defense training. So keep yourself physically fit and don't hesitate using a combination of your upper lower body tactic, depending what kind of situation you are in, to protect yourself while encountering a physical assault. If you are willing to report it legally, you have to ensure that legal requirements are fulfilled and your evidence support your claims well. In many cases, I've seen that women, they are even not aware that there is a law for harassment. So those of you who don't know, please go through the National Act for Women Right Protection of your country. And when you're filing a case, you need to make sure that your evidence support your claims well. I also would like to add here that scheming a gender harassment case to soil someone's reputation is also a punishable crime. It's where people begin to politicize it and prevent real victims from getting justice by ruining public perception. Women empowerment is gaining momentum across the globe, and here I have included the laws of different countries and their penal code. So you definitely want to find out the ones which are practiced in your country, and it will help you determine the requirements while filing a case. In Pakistan, insulting someone's modesty or causing sexual harassment can get you an imprisonment of 3 years with a fine of 5 lakhs KR. Germany has got very detailed harassment law, which includes all aspects of it.